Welcome back to the channel, everyone. Today, we're diving into the story of a legendary weapon that many thought was just a relic of history, destined for the scrapyard. Imagine a deafening roar echoing through a valley, followed by ground-shaking tremors you can feel in your feet, and a massive fireball erupting into the sky. I'm not describing a scene from a Hollywood blockbuster. This is the reality right now on the battlefields of Ukraine. The Ukrainian military has decided to awaken a sleeping giant from the Cold War era. That weapon is the massive M110 203mm self-propelled howitzer, packing a massive 8-inch gun. You might be wondering, in an era dominated by advanced drones, high-precision guided missiles, and standard 155mm NATO artillery that is both light and fast-firing, why does Ukraine need a bulky, slow granddaddy of a howitzer? The answer lies in its irreplaceable destructive power. In a prolonged conflict that has devolved into full-scale trench warfare, precision isn't always enough to breach heavily fortified defense lines, reinforced concrete bunkers, or underground strongholds. Sometimes you need sheer, unadulterated explosive brute force, and that is exactly the stage where the M110 has returned to reclaim its throne. Let's rewind to the Cold War. The M110 family of self-propelled artillery was designed by the US Army with a terrifying primary purpose: firing tactical nuclear artillery shells. The goal was to obliterate massive formations of Soviet tanks that might push into Western Europe. Built on an open-topped tracked chassis, it offered no armored turret to protect the crew. The doctrine at the time dictated that artillery of this caliber would be positioned far behind the front lines. Besides, once you fire a nuclear weapon, the thickness of your armor matters far less than how fast you can relocate. When the Cold War ended, the threat of tactical nuclear warfare diminished. Consequently, most Western armies began phasing out their 203mm artillery. They shifted focus to 155mm systems, which, despite having less destructive yield, offered superior mobility, faster rates of fire, and easier air transportability. Hundreds, if not thousands, of M110s were relegated to long-term storage or sold off to allied nations globally. No one anticipated that decades later, these behemoths would be dusted off and sent back to the front lines. The true terror of the M110 lies in the size of its payload. Picture this: a single 203mm artillery shell weighs a staggering 200 pounds, roughly the weight of a grown man. You can't simply muscle these rounds into the breech. It requires a rear-mounted hydraulic crane to hoist each shell. When it hits, the destructive power is double that of a standard 155mm round. It creates a small crater on impact, and the blast wave is powerful enough to cause fatal internal injuries to infantry hunkered down in nearby bunkers, even if they aren't hit by shrapnel. Crucially, the upgraded M110A2 variant, the specific version Ukraine has received, features a double baffle muzzle brake and a longer barrel. This allows it to withstand the immense pressure of additional propellant charges. When paired with rocket-assisted projectiles, or RAPs, it can hurl that 200-pound shell across the horizon to strike targets up to 18 miles away. That range is more than sufficient to punch deep into enemy territory, decimating staging areas or rear logistics hubs. Before we delve into the secret pipeline that brought these guns to Ukraine and the tactics they're using in the field, let's look at a spec sheet for the M110A2, along with some current estimated procurement costs. This will give you a better picture of what we're dealing with. As you can see from the specs, the vehicle weighs in at over 31 tons, pretty heavy for mobile artillery. Yet, thanks to that 405 horsepower Detroit diesel, it can still hit 34 miles per hour on roads. That mobility is key to its survival on a modern battlefield. As for the price, looking at historical value and storage condition, you're looking at roughly $500,000 per unit. When you compare that to a modern system like Germany's PZH-2000, which costs millions of dollars per unit, the M110 is incredibly cost-effective. But the real expense isn't the vehicle, it's the ammunition. A single 203mm shell costs an estimated $1,500 every time you pull the lanyard. For Ukraine to effectively use a weapon of this scale, they need a rock-solid logistics chain and stockpiles massive enough to keep these hungry giants fed throughout the fight. Which brings us to a fascinating question. Where is Ukraine getting all these weapons and mountains of ammo, considering the US stopped producing them years ago? The answer takes us across the globe, to Greece. The story started making headlines in late 2025. Intelligence reports and European media investigations revealed that Athens was considering a covert deal to sell up to 60 M110A2 howitzers to Ukraine. This transfer would be facilitated by the Czech Republic, a country that has spearheaded efforts to source global weapons for Kyiv. The deal was valued at a whopping 199 million euros. The reason Greece had such a massive stockpile is that while the rest of NATO was retiring their M110s, Greece bought them up to maintain parity with their neighbor, Turkey. But this deal wasn't just for empty vehicles. The crucial part is that Greece included an astonishing 150,000 rounds of 203mm ammunition in the package. That is enough firepower to allow Ukrainian gunners to pound Russian lines continuously for months. This ammo package is diverse. It includes 50,000 M106 high-explosive shells for pure destructive power, followed by 40,000 M650 rocket-assisted rounds for long-range missions. It also included 60,000 cluster munitions, specifically the M404 and M509A1 variants. These cluster rounds are an absolute nightmare for infantry and light armor spread across open terrain. So how are they actually using them in combat? In April 2026, Ukraine's 52nd Separate Artillery Brigade officially announced that the M110A2 systems were fully operational and deployed. They didn't bring the M110 in to replace existing weapons, they brought it in to fill a specific tactical gap. The 52nd Brigade has integrated it into a highly lethal three-tiered system. The first tier utilizes the domestically produced 2S2 Bogdana self-propelled howitzer. The Bogdana acts as the team's sniper, using 155mm rounds for precision long-range strikes against high-value targets like ammo dumps or command posts. The second tier belongs to the RM-70 Vampire multiple launch rocket system. It acts as the shotgun, blanketing wide areas to suppress and eliminate infantry. Finally, the M110A2 steps in as the massive sledgehammer. Its job is to smash bunkers, fortified positions, and harden targets that standard artillery simply cannot crack. While the vehicle looks cumbersome and its rate of fire is slow, maxing out at 2 rounds a minute, its tracked mobility is a matter of life and death. In Ukraine, the shoot and scoot tactic is mandatory to survive counter-battery fire. The second the M110 sends that 200-pound shell downrange, the crew has to stow their gear and drive that behemoth out of the area as fast as possible before enemy drones or counter-battery radar can pinpoint their location. As of our latest updates in mid-2026, we're seeing continuous footage of the M110A2 operating on Ukraine's eastern front. It's proving that Cold War design philosophies, prioritizing durability, simplicity, and devastating firepower, still have a place in modern digital warfare. The appearance of the M110A2 is a clear signal that the conflict in Ukraine has settled into a grinding war of attrition. And in a battle defined by firepower, the side with the bigger, heavier hammer gains a massive psychological and tactical advantage. What do you guys think? Will bringing back this Cold War titan be a game changer on the front lines? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoy deep dives into military hardware like this, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel so you never miss an update on military tech from around the world. That's all for today. I'll see you in the next video.